Hey, Bria, thanks for being on the podcast today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Let's do this.
I am pumped. The last time that we were together, we were popping sparkling non-alcoholic champagne juice at the barn, winning the 3-on-3 tournament. So it's so good to see you again.
Yes, for one in the tournaments out there, so I got to come back.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing it again this summer. So we look forward to having you back.
Perfect.
For sure.
So excited.
So you are in recording this. You're in Romania right now playing pro ball. How's it going?
It's going really well. We're actually placed second right now against a really good league. So we're over here doing our thing. We actually have only had 11 games because of COVID. Everything's really been up and down. So we're kind of like in a break right now, but we've been pretty steady the whole season. So, and then individually, I'm playing pretty well. So that's
good.
Always
good. So, how old are you now, like age-wise?
I am 28.
28. Okay, same. So, do you feel like? Because I feel like this. I feel like my body at 28 that I'm just getting into like hitting a peak. Just not only physically but like mentally, like knowing the game. Do you feel like your body like hasn't even hit its potential yet?
No, I was actually just talking to my teammate about this because we always talk bad about how like overseas we don't get enough treatment and we don't have ice and this, that, and the other. But honestly, I've been feeling really good. I'm a little sore, every now and then just from the roughness of the game, but I definitely want to reach my potential before I start going downhill here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But individually, I actually feel really good. I'm really blessed to be feeling as well as I do at my age. So I'm feeling great.
28 years young, baby. That's awesome. So can you tell our listeners, so you're overseas right now, and I know you haven't been home since, you told me September, I think it was, because you didn't get a Christmas break. You won't be back till May, so I'm sure you have a lot of, outside of practice. I know you're doing 2 days with some quiet time. So what have you been studying in the Word, or what's something that God's been teaching you during this time that you've, been overseas?
Well, and that's such a great question. One of the things about overseas that I really do love is just I have a special time with God overseas versus when I go home. Not saying that I'm not in my word when I'm at home. It's just because I live with 5 other people. So there's always some noise, there's something going. So we're over here, I can just fully isolate myself and just spend time in the Word and talk to God and do the things I need to do. And usually people aren't even up at home until about 2:00 my time. So the whole morning, I'm doing something. But and actually, last year I actually did the reading in the Bible for the whole year. And me and 2 of my other friends, we really just decided that that's what we wanted to do, and we did it. So that was amazing. I'm actually doing it again for a second time. But just kind of not only reading, but studying the Word. So right now I'm in Job, and Job is so special to me because, I felt for a long time, especially in high school, growing up, things were great. Rainbows and sunshine. Like there wasn't a lot of, God willing, there was never a lot of, animosity or adversity growing up, to whereas now when I'm older and I'm seeing different experiences, I can really relate to Joe because, he had everything and then everything was taken away so quick. Not to say everything has been taken away, but I'm just so blessed and just being able to see how he works through that and still believes in God and is still faithful and is still honorable and he never loses, sight of what's important. He's still able to worship God even in his rough times. And that's hard to do. It's so easy to blame God or be mad at God, but in the end of the day, just knowing that he loves me despite it all, and just being able to just really conquer that. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm the worst person out here, but everybody's experience is different. And I know that I have repented and I have gave my life to God, and Job is where it's at right now, and just making sure that I stay 100% on top of it, even if things aren't going my way.
So I love it. That was powerful. So I'm curious, are you studying through the Bible in a year? Are you doing it like in chronological order, like on how the events actually happen, or are you just going straight, reading Genesis to Revelation, but maybe you're doing like a New Testament and an Old Testament reading on the same day? So what's your plan? Because Jordan and I are trying to, you know, we want to do the year, read the Bible in a year. We set that goal late December of this year, and we still haven't started.
It's okay. Yeah.
But February 1's a new month, so that's a good time.
There you go. So when I did it with my friends, we actually went online and in Google, and we were just like Bible in a year, and it gave us a format to follow. Yeah. But it wasn't in chronological order. Like we were kind of bouncing everywhere.
Okay. In the Bible. Cool. Yep.
Now I'm doing it through the Bible app, which, you know, pretty much everybody has. Yeah. And this one's different because first of all, you have a devotion first, and then you have your scriptures. And I'm in Matthew and I'm in Job. Okay. So I'm in both. I just finished, you know, Genesis and Psalms and Proverbs will come in every now and then, but it's really, I like this one better because I'm not gonna say the experience are different or similar, but it's very relatable. Yeah. Every time I go to my new day, the devotional has a passage, and then in that passage, that's what we're reading. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like even in the Old and the New Testament, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's amazing. I love it. The Bible app, Bible in a year, do it. It's really great. Like I love it. That's good. I'll have to check that out. And also, I do want to add, before we started the Bible in a year, you know, I would read the Bible, but usually only in church. Like it wasn't a habit to read the Bible. So doing that last year just kind of got me in a very good habit of doing it. So when I was like, dang, the New Year's coming up, I'm going to do it again. Cause I don't want to lose it. You know, I feel like if I don't, I don't want to lose it. So that's why I decided to do it again. And next year, who knows, maybe I'll just do like a devotion or something. I don't know. No, you keep doing, I know so many people that like, I talk to that are in like their 70s or 80s and like, yeah, I've read the Bible every year since I was, and those people are like salt of the earth, like amazing. So I was curious, you saying like you would just read the Bible maybe at church and then you started reading it as a like your daily, you know, ritual. How has that changed you? Just what have you experienced these last 2 years when you've read the Bible every day? Because we know that Scripture tells us it's alive and active and sharper to a double, and that the Scripture also tells us that the Bible is never going to return us void. Like it's all like that is scriptural and biblical. So I just want to know, how has reading the Bible changed you? So many ways, but my top two, one, you know how the Bible speaks in parables. Yes. Mm-hmm. I have really been trying, especially this year, rereading it. I have really tried to pick up on those parables a lot better. You know, in church, it was easy because we would read a scripture and then he would apply it to the message. Boom, we got the full circle. Whereas, you know, when I was reading it by myself, I didn't always fully understand exactly what he was saying. Now reading it again, parables coming through. Now, you know, I'm trying to pick up more. So that's one. And then two, shoot, what was the other one? I just lost it. That was really good. So the parable, you're talking about the parables. The parables, and we were talking about how reading the Bible the last 2 years has changed you. What changes have you seen? Oh, God's love. Easy. just God's love, just getting lost in his love. You know, because he uses so many of the broken people, of the poor people in the Bible, that if, you know, X, Y, and Z has had trouble and they're still able to be born new, I know I can too. And I say that with, you know, an open heart to anybody that might be struggling or don't think that they deserve God's love, because I know I didn't at once. I felt like I didn't, when at the end of the day, there was not a question in his mind. So thank God. Yeah, and that's when we fully grasp the word grace, like, and what that actually, like, there's nothing that we can do to receive what God's done. Like, it's like grace and like a gift to us, and it's so humbling. And at the same time, like, praise God that we have that grace. So all the time. Yes. All the time. Sweet. So let's transition, talk a little basketball here. Okay. So for our listeners, how old were you when you first started playing basketball, and what advice would you give to basketball players who are just starting out? So I started when I was 4 in a little church league, little YMCA church league. So it wasn't competitive, but right away I pretty much fell in love with the game. My older sister played, so I wanted to play because she played, you know, and For all the new young girls that are starting out, trust the process, because it is a process. It is such a rewarding process, but in the moment it might seem gruesome. But you want to go out there, and you don't ever want to take a day for granted, because you never know, what can happen the next day or while you're on the court. Just leave it all on the court and just, do your absolute best. But just because it might not look the way you want to, God's working behind the scenes, so you want to keep pushing.
Mm-hmm. Amen. I think that youth basketball is so marketed. Like when we used to play like the game, like you said, I just fell in love with it at the age of 4. Yeah. Same thing I would say. At the age of 4, I started playing YMCA League, fell in love with the game. And it was just so pure and simple. And today, like the game is so marketed to these kids and they can get on YouTube and all these things. They see all these people doing like tennis ball dribbling and all this stuff. And they think like, I got to do that to make it to the league. It's like, no, basketball is simple. Like,
it
is not, it's fundamentals. Like, and I can remember, we'll get to your kind of experience at WNBA. I can remember practice, Steph White was head coach of the Indiana Fever. And for 30 minutes, we did mic and drill. And I remember it had to be, so they had 6 backers there in Banker's Life. You had to go perfect for 30 seconds. Then your partner went. So there's 12, girls on the roster. And I can remember, like, and I always tell story to kids, like Tamika Catchings, 28-second mark, maybe 2 or 3 times, hit the bottom of the rim on accident. Like, she didn't mean to, but we were focusing on. And so for 30 minutes, the WNBA team was doing mic and drill. Like, basketball is simple. Like, it's all about focus and the fundamentals. So we
don't ever want to complicate it, because I mean, so many things around it can be complicated. Just make the game simple. Do what you got to do. Work on your weaknesses, but you really want to show off your strengths.
Yes.
If you're great at shooting, make sure you're getting in the gym 30 minutes extra a day. If you're great at defense, make sure you're guarding the best player. Just simple things.
Amen. Yeah. And when you're doing things, like get outside your comfort zone and go hard. So if you're doing ball skills and you're doing like ball wraps around your waist, I'll go back to Catchings. Like I watched her do around your waist, around your head, around your ankles. And this girl, I mean, to me, Catching was just pouring sweat when she was doing it. And that's what it takes. And so it's a simple drill. So, all right, before this next question, I'm fired up about this one. So I got to set the stage. So I can remember watching this game in my basement of the house I grew up in. So in 2009, all right, we had the Class 4A Indiana Girls State Championship game. And if we were to go back, I would say that's one of the most historic girls or boys basketball high school games in the state of Indiana. One of the tops, no doubt. Could make Hoosiers Part 2 female version from this. Yeah. Not even kidding. And so we had 2 of the top teams in the state. And not only the state, but you guys, I think, were 1 and 2 in the whole entire country. So we have Ben Davis versus South Bend, Washington. So you were playing that game. I believe you were a sophomore in that game.
Yep.
And so then your sister and Alex Bentley were seniors. Dee Dee Williams would have been a junior.
Yep.
And then on the other team, we had senior. It was Skylar Diggins was on that team.
Yep.
And you guys met in the state championship game. Okay, you guys are ranked, and Alex Bentley and your sister foul out.
Yes. And I'm getting goosebumps.
I'm getting chills too. I remember watching it. It's a back and forth game, and it comes down, and you hit the game-winning shot in that game. Televised game, all over. 13,000 plus people were at this game, high school girls game, and Ben Davis wins 71-69. And so I just want to hear, you're a broadcaster for the Indiana Fever now. So get your broadcasting talent on and just take us back to that final shot and tell us about it.
Okay, well, first of all, it's still on YouTube. So if anybody out there wants to go check it out and see for themselves, just to make sure you were not lying, it is on there. But God, that was such a great moment in my basketball career. If not one of the best. I think that back then, as soon as Alex fouled out and my sister fouled out, I had 4 fouls. Didi had 4 fouls. I think Demetria had 4 fouls too. So it was awful. Like going in, I knew in that fourth quarter, if we go into overtime, we are losing this game. So Skylar's on a roll, she's hit last 10 or so free throws. Like they're just demolishing us at this point, going on a run. We get the ball when it's all tied up, and I look at coach, and I thought he was going to call a timeout. We had about 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds. I don't even remember. And I was just dribbling. I'm looking at him. He looking at me. And I'm dribbling the ball, trying for it not to get stolen. And in that moment, I was like, okay, I guess we got to go. So I go ahead. I make my move on a great defender. And honestly, in that moment, I was thinking, let me see if I can just get to the foul line. Boom, slow the game down. I'm really good.
What was the score? Was it 69-69 at this point?
69.
Okay. Yep.
So, and all I wanted to do is just shoot one free throw, call it a day. So I got past the girl, and I tried to lean into her to create the foul. They didn't call it. I hit the ground. I don't even see the ball roll in, but it goes in. So with that time, they call a timeout. It's 4 seconds left. We get in our huddle. Our coach says it's one more play, and Skylar gets the ball, and she heaves up a half court. And honestly, it almost went in. But at that moment, I was so excited. I was sending, my sister off, with the state championship. So that was probably just such a happy moment for us to share, so that was great. On top of that, that was the first state championship from Ben Davis in years. It was such a high publicized game. The night before, when we had our banquet, you could almost feel the tension in the room.
Mm-hmm.
People had
come on, let's go. Okay. Knock out punch. Don't go to the bathroom with anybody from needs to be in there. South Bend, Washington. You guys in there just probably rumbling.
Yes, it was. You could feel that tension. Like it was. God, it was intense. It was intense, and that was a matchup everybody wanted to see from the beginning. After we lost to Carmel my freshman year in the regionals, that put such a scar on our hearts that we wanted to get in the gym. We wanted to pull each other out of the bed and, hey, let's go get some shots up. We wanted to work hard during the summertime so that come season, that first game, it meant business. And we really, 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 really wanted to just focus in one game at a time, actually really one practice at a time, and make sure that we're competing at a high level. So I think that game, or that shot, that shot was something I still get chills about, and I was ready to handle that pressure and take it on.
We will make sure that all of our listeners get to see that shot. So we'll go on YouTube and we'll put it out because that's exciting. So earlier in the day of back in 2009, so that was 11 years ago. So we played in the 2A state championship game, and Dagger, we lost in overtime on a last-second shot, Claire Freeman against Heritage Christian. And as I was researching your shot, I came across this quote by your coach, Stan Benj, one of the great coaches, and he said, "Sometimes kids move to certain schools just for the basketball program, but all these kids grew up together, and that's what high school athletics should be. They weren't superstars when they were younger. They just worked really hard with each other, and all the talent came together." So I only mention, this is all about you, I only mention our game is because we played against all of our team. We all grew up together, and we were together. We played against, then we went to state and we played against a team that they all just moved there, got recruited for it, and they were really good team, and all of them went on to play college basketball. Right. But so I want your feedback now on just the way that high school athletics have gone in Indiana and going to the class system. And now we have all these prep schools is like the new thing. So just share your experience of just growing up, and you kind of have hit on it with and how that team came together. And just, I want to hear your view on what you think high school sports should be like.
Well, first of all, I'm not gonna say we, but my sister, so Alex and Dear and Emily, that group of girls, when they got together, terrible. They were really, really bad. I mean, they were getting beat by 40. Sometimes they would walk out. I remember I got to practice and play up with them, but I didn't get to play a lot. We played against, I want to say it was Carmel, and it was like 48-4. I had 2 points. as at 2 grades under them. So we were really, really bad. But we grew great friendships. That was one. We liked to be around each other. You know, we liked how competitive we were. You know what I mean? So that was one. And then two, just being able to see where we came from and then build our way up was just motivation. I mean, we knew that we were going to have Ben Davis on our chest one day, and we knew what that meant. Like, so we knew Coach Benj at a very young age, and he was really involved. We had dads working in and out. Like, we were just really passionate. Everybody just stayed in the group. We just all grew together. We grew chemistry. Even when it came to AAU, you know, we might not have been on the same team because of our age group, but we were pretty much all in the same system. Except for a few, but we always just came together. And I think with high school, it's so easy to do it now. You know, I don't see the potential in this team, so let me go to this team. You know, if you are moving, you know, because of parents, you know, things like that, great. But don't take the easy way out. You know, grow together. Start young, build a foundation, build trust. You know, get in the gym and work. And then just grind. That's really just what it comes down. Don't take the easy way out.
Amen. We got to compete. It's a compete mentality podcast. Come on. And it's so fun. So you talked a little bit about just how you guys lost. Like, you guys scored like 4 points a game when you guys were little. And you talked earlier about trusting the process. So I just want our listeners to know. So this Ben Davis team, so we had so I'm going to try to run through and you correct me. So we had Penn State, we had Western Michigan, we had Purdue University, we had Kentucky University. What was some other? Was that the main?
We had another Western Michigan.
Western Michigan.
Yeah, we had where did Emily go? Emily went to a D2 in Florida. I cannot remember the name of it. We had a Ball State. Mitri went to IUPUI, and Vivian, where did she go right now? I forgot where she went. But yeah, I think that was like the core of it.
Yeah, Vivian Holcomb. I played AU with her.
Yeah.
I forget where she went to. Vivian.
I forgot. I cannot.
Oh yeah, I know Vivian. So and then out of that group, 2 of you guys have played in the WNBA, and maybe 4 of you guys or more have played professional basketball.
3. Me, Alex, and Didi.
Okay, so 3 of you guys have played professional basketball.
Yep.
So, like, I just say that to encourage all of our listeners, like, trust the process. And you have talked a lot about work ethic. Yeah. And I've heard a lot of people talk about your work ethic and how much they respect you because of your hard work. So tell us what a typical training day looked like when you were in high school. And then how did that work ethic transpire? Because college is a little different on the amount of work you're going to be putting in. What did you do in college that was extra? And then now professionally?
So first of all, work ethic it came easy to me because I didn't know it was a choice really until I got to college. Mm-hmm. You know, I think just being around Coach Benj, Coach Dowler, who was our assistant coach, they instilled that in us at such a young age on top of my parents and what they had established, you know what I mean? So it just came natural to me. During a high school regular day, I would get up and make sure I shoot before classes. So I would get up around 5, make sure I'm at the gym around 6 and shoot for about 45 minutes to an hour, go shower, go through the day. And then I would have basketball practice with our team later on after school. And then after that, I would probably go again with Sean Bolden all the way to the east side, about another 40 minutes, maybe an hour with traffic. And then get home.
I used to train with Sean a little bit too.
Yeah. Man, and I mean, you're not a baller if you did it.
It was 100% hoops, right?
Yes.
I had this Nike white shirt. I cut the sleeves off because that was a good thing to do. And it's 100% hoops with the Nike sign. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. And so we go, and that was my day. I mean, I had enough time, enough social time. You know, I never felt like, I just don't have any time for friends. I had a lot of time. You know, I made time for those people that are important, but they also knew, you know, this means business, you know. And my social time, I had a lot of basketball friends. So, hey, you want to see me? Come to the gym. You know, it was so easy. It was so easy to do. That was a typical day. I remember Coach Benj once, he was telling me, he was like, are you sure you want to go out there and practice after? I'm like, yes, coach. Yes, I'm trying to get better. Yes. You No, like, how's your grades? They're great. You know, I wasn't flipping. I was just taking care of business. So it was great. And with that, we also had advanced PE during the school day. So we were also lifting weights during the day.
Yeah.
But that was my typical. In college, it was a little different because of the amount of things we had to do. So recovery one was super important. But we had unlimited access to our gym. So I had a key. We had a gun. I was in the gym. Easy. You know, that was just simple work. I didn't need a lot of I didn't need like a coach to be in there, or I didn't need somebody to come, you know, I had to wait on somebody to come open the gym, or we had a key. There was a gun. I got my shoes in the locker room and I'm putting up shots. Very easy.
The game of basketball is simple, and then hard work is simple. You just gotta show up and you gotta do it. Like, make sacrifices where you need to make sacrifices.
Exactly. I will say it's not always the easiest when you're working your butt off, but you're not seeing the rewards at the end. You know what I mean? So let's say you work, and you still fall short in the championship game. You know, that's heartbreaking, but also it fuels that fire for the next season. You know, you just want to make sure that you keep on building.
Amen. That's why 2009 when we lost, anytime we lost in high school, even in like college, I'd put stuff, but like I would post the paper or whatever on my door of my room, and so I would see it every day. Motivation.
Yes. Just little things like that.
Exactly.
Little things like, and that'll get you going. That'll get you going. We actually just lost to a team not too long ago that are one loss, and we actually played them first in the cup game. So I have literally
you better put something on your door or on your mirror. You see it every day.
Yes, ma'am. It's in my little thing in the locker room right before I get like to the thing, but I probably should just go ahead and move it in here into my room so I can see it every single day. It's just something, even little things like that I still do.
That's good. That's very good. So when you played at Ben Davis, you guys were a tenacious defensive team. I can remember we played you guys in the Hall of Fame Classic. And half of my teammates probably never even been out of the cornfields. They've been out, you know, detasseling corn. And so they never seen a defense like you guys, at all. And so we had 2 10-second calls before in like the first like 20 seconds of the game probably. And I was like, oh this is going to be a long game. And girls were just scared. Like you guys, like, I mean, it felt like there was 10 of you guys on the court. Like your defense was so good. And then during your sophomore season at Kentucky, you took 20 of the team's 46 charges.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that until you said that.
So why were you such a good defensive player?
It started young, one. First of all, it did start young. 2, I had an older sister. So battling against her, you know, I didn't want to do the dishes. So I had to learn how to play defense to stop her, you know, in some way, shape, or form. 3, you couldn't see the floor if you didn't know how to play defense. You know, we spent so much time on defense itself that there was no excuse, you know, to not know how to. It's just a matter of you doing it. But we took so much time just learning the fundamentals of defense and not using your hands, beating the offensive player to the right spot, help side, deny, all of it. We were shelter, like we were doing these things. We could do them in our sleep. That's how much we were doing them. Back to your game, we were we were on a mission. That was the year we were definitely on a mission. But we knew the type caliber player that you were. So we were definitely excited about that. So that was something that we would work that whole week for. So we knew we were playing a high caliber player. Let's give her a little taste. You know, that was kind of the thing. So who's guarding? Who's gonna stop me? You know, who I'm gonna stop you now, Didi. You know, we were so passionate about stopping each other. Sometimes in practice we were butting heads. You know, it was all love at the end of the day, but we had that trust in each other that you know, Didi, I'm scoring on you. Come on. You know, it shouldn't be this easy. You know, like we're talking trash. We're doing these things. Next possession, she's getting a steal. What am I doing? I'm crying. Oh, you got lucky, you know. But we were just making sure that we had that type of chemistry, not only on the ball, but off the ball too. You know, if Didi gets beat and now, you know, Mitri, you're not coming over, I'm looking at both of y'all crazy. You know, We all got to be in this together. It can't be just one. Yeah, Gigi, you might got to beat, but you got to trust that your teammates there too. So it was easy to play defense with our team because one, we were such good on-ball defenders, and that makes the game easy. If you have somebody just going straight line drives all the time, it's hard. But not only that, when we did get beat or our trapping game, we were able to make those reads.
Yeah, I think it's defense is a mentality. So you can do all of the speed drill, like you got to do speed drills. You need to be fast and you know how to move correctly and do fundamentally. But at the end of the day, it comes down to a mentality, like you were talking about in your practices. And some of the best practices I can think back at Purdue were when some of my teammates, right, or I was watching two other about ready to get in a fight, like because you're just going so hard and you guys are on opposing teams and like you guys are just competing. And that is, but at the end of the day, you get back to the locker room and everybody's laughing. And that's when basketball is fun, like just going out and laying it all on the line.
It's true. And I'm sad to see that part of the game kind of start to slip away.
Yeah.
You know, because of an offensive game and a great shooting game, quick shooter game is what we have now. It's like they're taking away from the importance of defense, you know, in a sense. Well, I know now that I'm older, I don't see as many defensive minded teams. One or two players that are good, but as a collective whole, you just don't see it that often. And that's sad.
Yes.
That's sad.
Very sad. So when I think of the word compete, Bria Goss is someone who instantly comes to my mind. So you have an unbelievable journey and such a testimony that can now be used to inspire others. So there's a lady who goes to my church. I just got a text from her this week about a previous podcast where Dre Mingo was talking about her battle with bacterial meningitis. And this lady at our church just got diagnosed with breast cancer. And she sent me a text and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that podcast is the only thing that encouraged me today." And so I know that people who are listening to this podcast today, I'm going to get another messages from people that are going to say, "Hey, I needed that. That encouraged me." And so here we go. Okay. I want you to tell us about your journey after you went undrafted in the WNBA after graduating from the University of Kentucky to now. So a lot of people might not know this story. The floor is all yours, girl.
Okay. So, so even before I even graduated, me and my academic advisor, Tiffany, we went back into her office and she said, "Hey, you need to plan A, B, C, D, and E." And they all fell through. Not one of them. I had every single plan. If this doesn't happen, then we'll do this. That doesn't happen, do that. You know, if you graduate and if you get drafted, great. If you don't, then, you know, call your agent and, you know, see if you can get in the training camp. If you can't do that, then do that. It was just right down the line and they all fell through. It was a time of uncertainty and I was really unstable. I was fresh out of college. But I did talk to my dad. He was like, "Hey, you got 18 months, you know, take this 18 months to yourself, just work hard. If you can, you know, go overseas before then, great. If you can't, give yourself 18 months, you know?" And so that was comforting, but I had just got out of a 4-year relationship. Like it was unstable and it was bad, but mentally, I just started, you know, just working on my craft, you know, every day, taking it every day. Thankfully, Portia Green, you know, Portia.
Yeah, Ball State. Yep.
Yes. I always talk to her. I always thank her because she played in Finland years ago, and her old teammate asked Portia, say like, "Hey, do you know anybody that could go overseas?" And Portia put my name in there. So thank you, Portia, yet again. But so they called me on a Tuesday. They sent me the contract on that Tuesday. I left on that Thursday and I played my first game on that Saturday as a professional player. Ooh. So, and that's because I didn't get picked up on a team until end of September, early October. So the season was here. Preseason was gone. Season was here. It was, I mean, my agent at that time, she wasn't really the person to like get back to me. So it was bad. It was bad. Went over there and I took care of business. I did a great job. We put ourselves in a really good position in Finland to win the whole thing. Then came February of 2016. Yes, 2016. And I actually got on my menstrual cycle, and I stayed on my menstrual cycle the whole month of February. At that time, I guess I was like, oh, it's fine. I'm feel, it's fine. It's just blood, whatever's whatever.
Yep.
Now I look, it was so stupid. Literally your body will tell you when it's wrong. We got to listen to our bodies, ladies.
Yes. Sometimes sports get you all like, it gets,
they do.
So I could see how you would just think like, oh, it's,
like I barely got out there. I don't want to mess it up by saying, oh, now all of a sudden I'm just bleeding, I can't go. No, we're gonna tough it out. I'm fine. I'm gonna have to change a pad every now and then and tampon, but I'm fine. So so the whole month of February, went by, and I constantly bled every single day, and it was heavy. March came, and I remember going to practice, and I was exhausted. Like physically, I would only run it up and down once or twice, and I would be dead tired. And that's really unlike me. I'm usually in really good shape. So
you're like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah. So at that point, I'm thinking like, oh shoot, I'm out of shape. I need to go to the gym. So I at that point, I started going to like our weights gym and get on treadmill for 30 minutes, like just to get my stamina. Yep. No, that wasn't a good idea. Come to find out, I went to practice, and I went to the bathroom and threw up and came back. They was like, just go home. That whole night I had terrible cramps, and that's kind of when I took some ibuprofen. Nothing was working. I called our general manager. I was like, hey, I'm in so much pain, I need to go to the hospital. They came, they picked me up, and they took me back, and they actually found something that's called a fibroid. And it's very common in Black women, not necessarily in my age. At that time, I was 23. So it was, common, but not common. And then on top of that, they're always benign, which is not cancers, like 9 times out of 10. So when I got home, because I actually ended up having to go home, we got a biopsy, and they said it wasn't cancerous, and they gave me, at that time they gave me a few shots, to shrink it. It was too big to take out. So what that is in your uterus. My uterus is about 10 centimeters wide. The fibroid was about 8.5. So it took up most of my uterus.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're saying at that point, if we take it out now, there's a good chance that you wouldn't be able to have your own kids. So I was like, oh, we can wait. Let's just shrink it down, and then when it's safe, go in there and do anything. So that's what we did. We did that the whole summer. By the time it got to a smaller size, it was time to go back overseas. So I went ahead. They were like, here, just take these pills and make sure it stays small. Boom, we're good. Go overseas. We actually won a championship. Great year. Okay. Yeah. So it was great. So I did that, came back, and went to my first doctor's appointment, and they took a look, and it was actually bigger than what it was when they found it. So it was about 9.5. Okay. So not only did it grow back to that size, it grew back bigger. So went to another specialist, and he was like, you know what? I've actually dealt with bigger ones, so I can go in there, take it out. The risk, there's always risk of having children anyway, but you will still have everything intact. It'd be great. So I remember, so the summer, it was July of 2017. They went in, and they just did a quick surgery. Boom, boom, boom. Took the fibroid out, and it was great. About a week later, I got a call from the specialist, and he actually told me that they sent a piece of it to the lab, and it actually came back cancerous. So it's no longer a fibroid, it's more of a tumor. So that just changed our whole procedure. Now all of a sudden, not only did I have this thing in my uterus, now they're saying that I need to just go ahead and get rid of the uterus altogether, because it's going to come back, and it's probably going to be 85% more dangerous than what it was. So of course, instantly I felt broken. I felt less than. I felt like a woman who could not bear my own kids. I had all these thoughts about like what man would want that, and just a whole bunch of just different emotions that just kind of all came out at once. And in August 9th, 2017, I had a hysterectomy. And up until August 9th, I just kind of tried to deal with it. Like, okay, look, this is what it is. There's nothing we can do. This is what it is. You know, I'll be fine. Then it came, and that morning was fine. It was fine. It was great. They put, you know, I was hooked up to the machines. You know, it was fine.
Yep.
It was when I had to leave my mom before the surgery where everything just kind of felt real. And I just remember thinking in that moment, like, this is awful. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore. This is not okay. Like, I am not okay. When I had the surgery, and I remember after surgery, I was just sad. You know, I was in the hospital for 2 days, throwing up from just the medication I was on. And I was just really upset, and mad at myself. I was mad at God. And I didn't exactly see the light at the end of the tunnel on this one. Very weird. I couldn't practice because I was just had surgery. Like, it was definitely a dark, a really dark space that I was in. And really the only way I felt like I could pull out of that, and because everybody that knows me knows I'm Bria. Hey, you know, what's going on? Bria's great. Nothing's wrong with Bria. She always has a smile on her face. And when people started to see that and notice that, I was like, okay, I got to go back. You know, I need to, you know, pull myself out. And the best way I did that was, and it's not healthy, but I was just like, okay, that part of my life, family, children, getting married, that's not for me. What's for me is right now, which is basketball. What's for me right now is the family that I do have. And I just completely shut down on relationships. And even some friendships, you know, I just, not the friendships that I had, but new friendships that were developing. I was like, once they find out about this, they're either going to look at me funny, or they're not going to respect me as a woman, or they're going to say something that I'm not going to like. So I just kind of pushed it to the back of my head as if it just didn't happen. My mind it just didn't happen. This is just what it is. I'm fine. You're fine. We're going to get through this together. And, you know, whatever's whatever. I did end up, you know, meeting somebody, and that was the first time I actually told somebody outside of my family. And it was fine. It was fine in the moment, but it wasn't fine because now I had to do the work. Like, I knew it was about 6 months later, I was like, I need to, you know, deal with this head on so that I can start healing, because really I just postponed the healing process. You know, that's when I got super involved in faith, because even though I love my mom and my mom loves me, she didn't understand what I was going through. The only person that knew was God. I have always had, you know, faith. I went to church when I was young, but I think it was at that moment when I was like, I have nothing else for anybody else who's going to be able to understand. And I had no choice but to turn to God. If I didn't, I don't know where I would be, because he's the one that got me through. It wasn't just you know, hey, you have no uterus. I'm having hot flashes every single second of the day almost. Like, I'm in full menopause. Every time I have a hot flash, I'm thinking, oh, can't have kids, remember, you know, so it's not the end of the world. And I know that now, but at that point in time, it just felt like, who could love, you know, somebody that could have, I was 24 when I had it taken out, you know, and they told me at 24, I couldn't have kids. What other 24-year-old male is going to be like, oh yeah, we can think about that, you know, years down the road. That's expensive, you know? So it was such an important time, because that's when my relationship with God had started. For my own, you know, I got rebaptized and things like that. I knew going to church, and I knew the Lord, but I didn't have my own. I had my relationship through my parents with God. This time it was just, I was just able to dissect and just get comfortable and learn how to love myself, even though, you know, because if God can love me, you know, it's just such a powerful mindset that even today I struggle with. You know, there's days where I don't want to do anything but just cry in the shower. You know, and I think it's important to have those, you know, those moments, but mainly because, you know, this isn't where I thought I would be. You know, it's just you never, when you're growing up, you never think about not having kids of your own. Thankfully, I do have eggs preserved, so they're in a freezer.
46, right? I did my research.
Yes, yes.
How many eggs you have? It's kind of
they're in the freezer. So I can't have biological children. I did look up the process. It is very expensive. But
we have some friends that are Kurt, you have been going through. They're 31 and they've been going through just being infertile, and they've tried a lot of different things, and they actually got to the point so they like took the eggs and everything, and they're going the route now of somebody's going to carry for them. So like, it's unbelievable just to see the way that God like can work through situations.
Because I mean, I used to look at if I was attracted to a guy, I would find him on Instagram, then I would see if he had a child or not. If he did, all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, never mind, not attracted anymore. Yep. And now here I am, now I can't have kids. So I'm almost, when I go on there and I'm looking, I'm like, oh God, they have children, let me see the relationship with it. Like it's just a complete 180. You know what I mean? It's the infertility that I know as women that we go through. So many people expect it, oh, why don't you guys have kids yet? Well, what are you guys waiting for? Or that's pressure, that's a lot to take in, so now just not having a uterus at all, fallopian tubes, it's all gone. I just had to just learn to love myself now, without it, you know what I mean? And I got into, I'm looking at adoption and those processes, foster care, there's so many things that I didn't know about the process, and how many kids don't have homes, and it's just unbelievable. I would have never even thought about it if I had, if I have my uterus, you know what I mean? So it was definitely an awful period of my time, but now that I look back, I am so much stronger having went through that. So much stronger. My faith in the belief of who I am, my confidence, my self-esteem, just all around better person.
I always, my chaplain in college used to always say this, like every single FCA meeting, Romans 8:28. And we know that all things God works together for good for those who love him. And like, as we get older and we go through different experiences, like that verse, like it's just ingrained. And that just made me think of in your situation as well. And just the phrase too, like in the Bible, there's so many stories where like the story's going on and then it says, but God. And so then you're, but God, so it just made me think of that. So if you could write a letter to yourself, so you've won 2011 Indiana Miss Basketball. You won 2 back-to-back state championships, hitting the game winner, which you got on YouTube for people to watch. You played at UK. You played professionally. What would you say to yourself now knowing what the journey after UK has been? So the story, what journey you just told us about having cancer and beating cancer. So what, if you write a letter to yourself, what would you say to yourself?
So cliche, but it's so true. You can do anything that you put your mind to. That's so important. I know I've heard people say that. And I know people still say it now, but it's like if I could beat cancer, what else is going to be able to hold me down? One, because God's on my side. And two, I think I spent so much time worrying, just worried about what's next, worrying about my next contract, worrying about playing, worrying about, just those smallest things, relationships, whatever it is. I spent so much time on the things that I can't control, when at the end, God already has it worked out. Honey, you're going to be great. You're literally destined for greatness. Just keep your head down, do what you got to do, love the Lord, be a good person, keep going, and you can do anything that you want to do. The way that broadcasting came around, it literally fell in my lap. I didn't make the final roster for the Fever, but in that time I made connections. And what are those connections for? They're for my next chapter when I'm done with basketball. Like God works in so many different ways.
Yes, I kind of
so many different ways.
Go back to so we were talking the story. So you have cancer, you're playing overseas. Then 2019. So you had a dream playing the WNBA, and you've been graduated from UK for a few years. You've played overseas. You even I'm going to ask you a question about this, but you even you needed to make some money, so you did some bartending. And so the only money you really had made at Bankers Life Fieldhouse was in the Sun King. You bartended for the Sun King little thing. But then let's move forward that you get a contract with the Indiana Fever in the WNBA post beating cancer. Tell us about that.
It's so nice. I mean, the journey was awful, but to look back and just kind of see where it was from, graduating to A, B, C, and D plans falling through to now getting a opportunity to play at the highest level of basketball that there is. I was just taking it all in. I mean, I was building connections. I was talking to the girls. Hey, what do I need to do? How can I get better? I'm watching film with the coaches. Even if I played, one game I played maybe 3 minutes. I think it was less than 3 minutes. Hey, coach, can we get in the gym or can we watch that film? I did nothing in those 3 minutes, but I was like, hey, can we, I was, whatever I needed to do, I was doing it. It was I love that period. I have no regrets with that even though I didn't make it and I was upset I didn't make it. It was so nice to be a part of that group. It was
you were in the final three, right? Yeah. So and just for our listeners, everybody's always asked about professional basketball for women in the WNBA. It is so hard to get into that league. There's 12 teams and 12 players. So there's 144 spots. And so you got to think about the veteran stud players who are already there. So there's really little window of opportunity for a player to come in and to make a final roster. And so just the fact that you were in the final three, I mean, that's awesome just to get that. And people don't understand. They're like, oh yeah, but you got cut. But no, I was in the final. It's not like the NBA where you got the G League and then you got the D League and you got all these A, B, C, D, all these different opportunities and all these teams. And you can make six figures just sitting on the bench doing nothing. I guess not how the WNBA is. You have to compete in that league.
Not at all.
It's hard. It's hard.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And it was so amazing though. I mean, from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yes.
It was a great experience. Those dreams, I mean, if they call today, hey, you want, yes, yes, I'm coming. If they want me to come, drop everything, whatever, I will still want to do it. I'm not afraid to fail. If anything, I think that if I could redo that experience, I probably would do, a few things different, but from top to bottom, it was just a great experience.
I'm going to pick your brain because I know somebody might be listening to this podcast who aspires to be in WNBA. So being in a training camp, what are those things that you're like, I probably would have done this differently?
One, I think my communication on the court, one, could have been better, and off the court. How I'm on the bench. What can I tell, our starting point guard, Erica Wheeler, what she needs to be doing? She might not be seeing, from on the floor perspective, I can say it from the bench. You know what I mean?
I do
being to hey there.
Grace just came over here down one of the buckheads, and he's like, "What are you doing with this?" Hey, we're almost done, okay, buddy?
Okay.
Hey, want to come over here? Okay. We're good. We keep going.
Okay. And then another thing is just making sure that I'm doing the work early. I was one of the first ones to come to the gym. I don't want to, I definitely one of the first, maybe not the first every time, but just making sure that I'm leaving it on the court and playing with no fear.
Yep. Playing fearless. That's there's such a difference between playing in fear and playing fearless. It's so different. Yes. Okay, so back to so now obviously you mentioned that you made connections. So now this past season you were the broadcaster for the Indiana Fever. So we talked to many coaches and players on this podcast. We talk about taking the jobs that you don't want to have the job that you want. So we've talked to people who maybe were a janitor at the school they want to coach at, or whatever that might look like. And so there was a time, so in 2018, like you talked about, you attended Midwest bartender school because you need to make some money. Overseas wasn't paying all the bills. And so I want to hear, because I've heard a few of the people that you've, been had opportunity to bartend for. So tell us some of the famous people you have bartended for. It's a fun question.
So the way that the Midwest bartenders works is you get your license, and then once you do, it's like temporary contractors. Mm-hmm. So they'll say like, hey, we need bartenders for this wedding or this banquet or whatever, and you say yes or no, and you go and work. So I got to make my own schedule, which was great. Cool. It wasn't tax free, but you do get a lot of tips, so that was great. Mm-hmm. But I was working a lot of like upscale weddings, banquets, the Indy 500. I did that probably a million times. Mm-hmm. I did Banker's Life, of course. That was fun. Yeah. Like, like the one on the floor, the one on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one, I love that one. Mm-hmm. Who else? I did some private parties that were great. I did like the private parties. They were very not intimate, but the connection was there. I mean, you really got to talk to people a lot better. Mm-hmm. And I also worked a little bit for the Colts, not at Lucas Oil, but they have like a, what is it called when you pregame before the Colts or before football? Tailgate. Yes, tailgate. Like it was like a tailgate event center for the Colts game. So we would do that too. That was a lot of fun. And it's definitely, I mean, one, I got to make my own schedule, so that was great. Mm-hmm. But two, I've made a lot of connection doing that too.
Yeah, I know you've worked with a lot of NBA and movie stars, and
Yes, I was in this. I mean, the Indy 500, the year that
the guy who's Thor, the Thor guy.
Yes. I was working his suite. It was like, he's with a watch company or something. And I was in that suite. And I mean, there were some really high profile people that own their own businesses and stuff. I was getting everybody's business. Hey, I play basketball, but I'm not going to play forever. So please, just give me, I might have to call you one day. I still got all those connections. So it's so easy. I mean, you get to talk to people, and I'm a vibrant person. So I can talk forever. So just,
I heard a quote the other day that your network is your net worth.
Wow.
That is so your network is your net worth. So, and even like, just like earlier you talked about your opportunity to start out playing professionally overseas came from Portia Green. Like, and she put a word in for you. And just like people who want to go get a job, it's normally, or you want a coaching job, whatever you want. Normally, a lot of times it's not the person who is the most qualified, but it's somebody has put in a word for somebody and they get that position.
Yeah.
Because they know your work ethic, they know your personality, and somebody can be book smart, but are they street smart and can work with people.
Right.
So
it's so true. Oh
yeah. All right. So last question here. This has been awesome. I got one final one. So in 2020, you played 3-on-3 at the Compete Training Academy barn. Woohoo! With current and former professional players, college players, and highly recruited high school players from the state of Indiana. So tell our listeners, what was it like playing 3-on-3 basketball in the barn?
Listen up, listeners. If you haven't been, go. Okay. That was Indiana basketball.
Yes.
That was just a group of girls that was ready to play. That was just, I mean, we weren't like out in the rain or anything, but I felt as authentic as basketball can get. Like in that barn, we had, like you said, a great group of girls, competitive girls that wanted to compete, that wanted to win. You would have thought we were in the NBA finals, the way that we were competing. You know what I mean? It was such a great environment. I mean, we had the fans there. It was so sweet to win, one, but two, even if we didn't, I'm so, happy that I was able to experience, playing in the barn. I don't think, actually with basketball, how it is now, I think it's so important that we have things like the barn. You know what I mean? It would have been
the pureness. Yeah.
Yes.
Simple.
It would have been so fun back in the day. Like we would have had that during the summers, while we were growing up and stuff. We we probably wouldn't be able to leave that place. You know what I mean? We would always try to go, but now just kind of seeing and playing with these good group of girls coming back, and just being able to full out compete in a great system. I thought it was a great opportunity. If you haven't been out there, you're too young to play, you guys better get excited, because that is definitely a place that you have to play. I'm bringing my sister next year, so
let's go. Hey, you better not form a new team and try to come. We gotta get back for our we gotta go back for our championship. If you guys want to form a new team, that's all right, because I'll form a new team and come after you guys.
Okay. That was so good. What I filled in for Taya, right? Was that
Taya? Yeah, because Taya was gone for a little bit. So it was good. But we plan on doing it again and getting more girls coming down, and just the love of the game and competing. Like, that's what it's all about.
I mean, you had the whole thing set up. I mean, photographer, DJs, like it was legit. You did such a great job. You and your husband both, are really building something amazing. You're about to change the game.
We're glad that you're a part of it, and we're gonna be in your bartending connections.
Right.
We need some of those to help us build a heated building out here. All right, because give me some of these business cards.
Yes. Oh, that's another. Oh God. It was great. And the Gatorade bottles is right there. It was great. It was a great experience.
When you get back from Romania, you can be looking forward to. We'll get some training in the barn and get some playing, and it'll be a great time. So,
sign me up. If you need me to come out there and speak or like train with some younger girls.
You need to come out and train some girls. We need to do some clinics together. We need to do the whole shebang. Let's do it. You're hired. Right here, why not? Live on the podcast. Bria Goss. Hired PTA. Here we go. Come on.
There we go. Give me the t-shirt. I'm there.
Hey, we are officially, I gotta shout this out. We're not officially, like, they ain't sending us the gear, we gotta go buy it. But instead of Nike or Adidas or anything, and you'll appreciate this with your hard work ethic, we are going Carhartt brand in a barn, and we got some Carhartt gear, and so that's a new thing that we're rolling out. So we'll get some Carhartt boots. Yeah, so it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, well, if you need me to model now, I'll come out there.
You're hired for a while.
Congratulations. That's one of, I mean, I didn't know you too well in high school, but as I've gotten older, just kind of seeing you not only as a basketball player, but as a person and a woman of God, like, you never cease to amaze me. You think big, you have a great heart for your vision. You're always thinking about the youth. Like, you are really out here doing it. So congratulations. I'm super proud. I'm so proud of you and your husband too.
Hey, you're going to join in with us because I think the same about you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks again, Bria.
Thank you.
See ya.